Nissan's first pole of the season for round 6 at Donington Park, and he's joined by the ever-consistent James Thompson in his Honda. Alain Menu and race winner John Cleland make up the second row. Anthony Reid in the second Nissan, Derek Warwick in the second Vauxhall. Leading independent Matt Neal in his Nissan alongside Ivan Muller in his Audi. Peter Cox and Will Hoy make up row 5, and Gianni Morbidelli and independent runner Tommy Rutstadt in his Renault. Row 7 has John Bincliffe and Tim Harvey in his Peugeot. Independence Point leader Rob Gravitt alongside Mark Lemmer. Craig Baird on row 9 alongside Roger Main in his Honda, and then Rickard Rydell and Jason Plato on row 10, both very unhappy campers.
The engine revs rise, lights have gone to red, lights are red, lights are still red. They're really holding these lights for a long time. Wait for it, green now, and they're away and racing in the feature race of the afternoon. A cracking start from David Leslie in the Nissan. Look at Alain Menu straight down the middle in the green Renault, and on the right-hand side of the screen, James Thompson in the Honda, and Thompson's running wide. Menu's right in behind him, but Thompson's out on board now with Thompson. Oh, talk about one out and one back. He's absolutely been hung out to dry around the first corner. Losing places, losing places. That's John Cleland in the Vauxhall through. So James Thompson has gone from second place to fourth place as we get to the old hairpin for the first time. Puff of smoke and David Leslie worms and squiggles. That's Will Hoy on the left-hand side in the blue Ford making a move. On board now with Peter Cox. There's Hoy right next to us. Couldn't get any closer. Boy, is that close. We're in the run-up to McLean's now. And that's Muller. Muller in the Audi up the inside, side by side as we go round McLean's. High from Will Hoy. A little tap to make good friends. Up over Coppice now for the first time. Leslie still in the lead. Menu second, and right behind him and making a move on him is the Vauxhall of John Cleland.
Cleland certainly has grip coming out of Coppice corner that we're not seeing from anybody else. And don't forget a second good start for Cleland. He used the opportunity to get past James Thompson when Thompson ran wide. He almost forced Menu to go wide in Coppice, up into second place, starting from fourth at the end of one lap.
And what a lap indeed. There's the headline. Vauxhall passes Renault. That's John Cleland snatched in the position from Alain Menu, last year's winner. So it's Leslie. Right behind him, Cleland, then Menu, then the first of the Hondas with James Thompson. Now here's a race, 5 into 1. That's going to end in tears. And it has ended in tears. That's Peter Cox and that's Morbidelli. Morbidelli, and that's the view back from Peter Cox's Honda. Morbidelli's off with him. I think it was maybe Rustad in the middle of all of that. We're stuck. Well, some of us are stuck. Morbidelli's back up. Look, he's going to rejoin the race. Look at the front of that. It's like a scene out of Mad Max. Off he goes. Bits of the car hanging everywhere, but undeterred, Morbidelli rejoins the race, dropping rubble and rocks and stones and goodness knows what else all over the circuit. Back up with the race leaders now as we head around into McLean's corner again. And there's Rickard Rydell. Remember, he's coming through the back of the field and he's making a move, or trying to make a move, on Tim Harvey in one of the Peugeots. A bit of detritus there from the Volvo being removed from the scene of that crime.
Stop, Gianni. Stop the car. Right. The front bumper is damaged. You're going to lose oil. Please stop.
More disappointment for Gianni Morbidelli. When's the season going to really get up and running? Well, let's look down into Redgate and see what happens. Peter Cox, Tommy Rustad, and in fact it's contact between Cox and Rustad that takes out the innocent Gianni Morbidelli. Great disappointment for Morbidelli. One Volvo down and one to go.
So as Peter Cox is dragged out of the kitty litter, we're back with our race leader now, and that is David Leslie, and look at him flying up through Coppice corner. And not far behind him is John Cleland in the Vauxhall, and right behind him, Alain Menu. And talk about flying, there's the proof. Fastest lap, 1 minute 11.4. That's not far off qualifying.
And the evidence was there for all to see during testing a few days ago when Nissan topped the times here at Donington.
And there it is for all to see as well. John Cleland, boy, are his tail feathers up. And here's the view back from Paul Radisic's tail feathers, and driving right into them is Rickard Rydell in the Volvo. Absolutely monstering the back of Radisic. We're all over the back of Radisic as we go through the chicane down to the start-finish straight.
And sometimes you can almost get too close to the car you want to pass. What happens is you lose your momentum.
And look at the dents on the front of Rydell's car as he's been sending Swedish Morse code to Radisic. Radisic is trying a different line around Redgate. Rydell holds the tight line. Radisic takes that wide line that we were talking about. And Gravitt's off. Rob Gravitt, the independent, pirouetting to the infield.
And I think there's been contact between Gravitt and Roger Moen and the other independent Honda. Gravitt, a double winner in the Independence Cup at Silverstone 1 week ago, will be very unhappy indeed. And look, clods of earth falling off his Honda as he comes down through the Craner curves.
Wow, we're back with Jason Plato, one of our drivers like Rickard Rydell, moving through the field, and he's putting the magnets on the back of Tim Harvey now as we go through Coppice and down the back straight. Hi Tim, it's me and I'm going to pass you. Oh really, says Tim. You can just hear the telepathy from here. Dab on the brakes from Harvey, maybe unsure, but a great pass.
Yes, it was, but I think Tim Harvey did collude a little bit. I'm not sure that his employer's Peugeot would be so happy to see him say, after you, Jason, in a Renault.
Well, not too often that Tim Harvey's accused of excessive race manners. In the meantime, Jason Plato moving his way through the field. Remember, he started from the back of the grid because of a technical infringement, as did Rickard Rydell in the Volvo, but he's nowhere to be seen. Back with our race leader now, David Leslie, just over a second ahead of John Cleland in the Vauxhall. Alain Menu hotly behind. Then it's Thompson, then Warwick in the second of the Vauxhalls. And look at that, 8th position, Matt Neal. 8th outright for the independent driver, Matt Neal. And back up front with David Leslie. What a drive he's having. He's led this race from the off, and he's just starting to build up a bit of a gap over John Cleland. It looks as though it's just the opening of a gap that's starting to get comfortable. Up through Coppice Corner now, a fast part of the circuit. Then we head down the back straight.
But let's have a little look and see what did happen to Rob Gavitt. Turns into Redgate. That's Rickard Rydell just ahead of him. Paul Reddish is on the ups, and round we go. And the contact was made by Roger Main in his Independent Cup Honda.
And as if we needed any proof, there it is, David Leslie in the lead. Heading down into Redgate Corner, Leslie leads from John Cleland in the Vauxhall, then it's Alain Menu right behind in the Renault. James Thompson follows up in the Honda, and then Derek Warwick in the second of the Vauxhalls. And there he is, Matt Neal, the independent, right in front of Will Hoy in the Ford. And look at Jason Plato just storming through the field.
Well, Plato was very upset by having to start at the back of the grid. He didn't feel it was fair, but the regulations are the regulations. But he's driving with a very good head. He's made his way from the back of the grid. Now he's coming up to Will Hoy. But the further he gets up the field, the more difficult the overtakes are going to be.
You can see Will Hoy struggling now a little bit as we go through the old hairpin. Hoy had a real slide on through there, and the Renault seemed to have the better of the handling. He's lining him up now as we go into McLean's. Trying to look what? Sounded like a lock-up to me. Sounded like a lock-up. Fishing for gears, the engine goes dead.
Yeah, Jason Plato got it wrong on the entry into McLean's. He's lost ground to Will Hoy, but that's not a problem because he's got a little bit of clean air, and the speed of the Renault will clearly bring him back up to the back of the Ford.
There's Paul Radicic. He's having a nightmare of a weekend in the pits. Obviously, his race over. Back on board now with Rickard Rydell working his way through the field.
And Rickard Rydell always finds the traffic at the most difficult parts of track. This is coming into the chicane, and he's saying, will I, won't I, no I won't. John Bincliffe, I'm not going to take the chance. Tommy Rustad goes down one more place.
Rydell really using Bincliffe there to get past Tommy Rustad. Just locked onto the back of the Audi and literally got a toe straight through that chicane. Here we go down into Redgate now. Is this a way to look a different line past? No, Rydell's actually following the same line that Bincliffe's using, running a little bit wide as we go through Redgate. Now here's the run down the crane of curves. Rydell at the moment is looking to the outside as though he wants to take the hard line. Bincliffe's off. Bincliffe's gone straight off and ploughing through the field. Look at him fly, cutting the daisies. It looks like a scene out of The Sound of Music.
Well, John Bincliffe got a big armful of opposite lock as he came out of the crane of curves. The car pointed to the right and he said, I'm going to take the grassy, scenic route, rejoin track. But he rejoined behind Rickard Rydell.
And we can make jokes about it, but that must have been absolutely terrifying. We've discussed how fast it is down there through the crane of curves, and to leave there is a momentous moment.
It's a scary place, but Jason Plato now really giving some heat to Will Hoy. You can see the speed the Renault's got off the corner. Gentleman Will says, after you, Jason. First Tim Harvey, now Will Hoy. What is Jason Plato? What is the magic he works on these guys?
He's such a charming young fellow. He climbs the curves, but he doesn't climb through Will Hoy. Straight around the outside. 2 wheels onto the dirt as he goes past Will Hoy, trying to not lose any momentum. Now remember, Jason Plato is coming through the field. He's just picked up 9th position, but he started from the back of the grid. He's having a storming race. But up front, it's Leslie in the lead, Cleland in the Vauxhall 2nd, Menu 3rd, Thompson in the Honda 4th, Warwick 5th, and Anthony Reid rounds out the top 6. And this battle for 2nd is far from over. Alain Menu in the Renault is not letting John Cleland and that Vauxhall out of his sight. He's really closing up now as we go down the back straight, 6th gear, 145 miles an hour. They'll see on a really quick lap here. Out under brakes into the chicane, and this is where we've seen this Vauxhall so strong. Its turn-in ability, its ability to stand on a pin.
Okay, pit lane speed limit. Pit lane speed limit.
Thompson the first into the pit lane for the mandatory tyre stop. He's been losing ground to Alamenu. The team have decided to bring him in early. It's a big gamble, but the reason they've done it, they will get him back out on the track when everybody else will be considering time for their pit stop. It could be a ploy that works, but he'll have to go a long, long way on this, his second and final set of tyres.
Speed limit. Good stop, guys. Well done.
Cracking stop for James Thompson. 9.6 seconds under 10, and that's definitely the goal. Now back with the race, and this is Alain Menu, and Alain Menu has got the magnets on John Cleland now. Look at that, the gap is visually closed. He's much closer than he was a lap ago. Heading down into the chicane now. Menu trying to make up a little bit under brakes, and looks to do so. Flouting those curbs, both of them trying to straight line it. There's a lot of muck on that corner as well. It must be slippery as they head now back down the pit straight. Menu looking to the inside, Cleland's on the outside. Could this be one of these red gate shuffles where someone holds wide, the other moves back and cuts in? He's not quite close enough, but it's getting oh so close. Oh so close. He's moving in on him all the time. Now here's Rickard Rydell, one of our other stragglers moving through the field, and he's catching Tim Harvey.
And Tim Harvey's been so generous to everybody else out in the field. Now it's the turn for Rickard Rydell, but where's the message, Rickard?
Heading down into Redgate now. Will he try the inside or hang to the outside? No, Rydell's going down the inside, and Harvey makes it look oh so easy. I mean, there's no resistance at all from Peugeot.
This is a very dispirited Peugeot team, and really it's being reflected by the drivers.
Now Anthony Reid in the second of the Nissans taking the challenge up to Derek Warwick now. Warwick in the second of the Vauxhalls.
This time.
This lap. So Anthony Reid, the second of our top runners to want to pit early.
Okay, watch your speed in the pit lane.
Listen, deciding it's better to get Anthony Reid in, away from Derek Warwick, fresh tyres, out on a clear bit of track. It's the gamble that Honda have taken, but more importantly, they want the flexibility to give David Leslie, who currently leads this race in his Nissan, the best possible opportunity of when he should come in for his tyre stop.
Pit crew ready, the stop board. Now watch the clock. The clock is running. Remember, James Thompson did this in 9.6 seconds for the Honda team. 9.6 is the time to beat, and that doesn't... They're struggling, John.
This stop's taking longer than the Nissan team would like. That right front wheel gun not coming off cleanly. Gets out 15 seconds exactly, and that's 5.5 seconds slower than Honda managed. That's a lot of time to lose in the pit lane, and it's a lot of time to make up on the pits at the last possible moment. That's part of the discipline Williams' team prepare for the mandatory pit stop.
Brake, 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 brake. Gear, go.
12.72 seconds for Menu, not fantastic, but interestingly, changed only the left side tyres. Others have changed the fronts.
Speed limit, go. Go, go, go. You've got Thompson 3 seconds behind. Go, go.
Get out of here, Alain. That's the message from the pits. Those headlights are James Thompson's headlights. He's the man bearing down on Alain Menu as he passes Roger Moen. That's one independent Honda passed, and here's the second independent Honda. Grab it into the pits.
Rabbit saunters up to the stop point. The car is raised on the jacks. The hammers are taking the wheel nuts off. The wheels are coming off. Now one wonders, are they trying to keep their lead in the Independence Cup, or do they need a bit of time and motion study in their pit stops?
Particularly relaxed stop, but it isn't relaxed now as we go down the back straight, and we're on board with Jason Plato. This relentless charge continues. Now in our sights is Ivan Muller in the first of the Audis, and we're having a look down the inside as we go into the chicane before the start-finish line, and straight past.
Well, that's textbook stuff from Plato and the Renault. Well, I have to say, maybe Ivan Muller knew something that we didn't know, because he was going into the pits anyway. Plato didn't know that. There was no indication. And behind Muller, in comes Will Hoy in the Ford Mondeo. Ford have had some great pit stops this year. Let's watch the two times. At the top of the screen is the Ford, at the bottom of the screen is the Audi. Currently, it's about even Stevens, but of course, the Audi's further down the pit lane. But Ford are moving. Ford are on the pit lane, and Audi are still in the jacks. Ford has passed Audi in the pit lane, and Ford have done once again a superb job on the pitch to get Will Hoy up one more position.
And look at the gap as we file down pit lane now and move out. Hoy's away. Muller's still having to work his way past. And here comes Matt Neal, the first of the independents, and he's absolutely flying. Bear in mind, Matt Neal has already had his pit stop as well. But one man who hasn't had his pit stop yet is Jason Plato, the man scything through the field.
Okay, JP, any problem?
Quick confirmation to the pits. Everything okay, Jason? Yes, it's absolutely fine. Lining him up for a stop. And there's the race order. Leslie, Cleland and Warwick in third place. None of them have pitted. And Plato's up to fourth. He hasn't pitted either. And Rydell in fifth. Now into the pits comes Derek Warwick. And also into the pits at the same time comes Jason Plato. It's another head-to-head battle between the pit crews.
Brake.
Warwick started earlier. Plato's a little bit behind.
Brake.
Notice Warwick's up on two wheels. They're changing the fronts. They're not lifting the back. And a blinding stop from Plato compared to Warwick. 11 seconds better than his teammate. But look at Warwick. Oh, you could measure this stop with a calendar.
Go.
Almost 25 seconds for Derek Warwick. Disaster City.
Here he comes, gentlemen.
This is a crucial stop for Cleland. You think back a few moments ago for Derek Warwick, his teammate, in an awful pit stop, over 20 seconds. Cleland comes to a stop. Jacks come up. It's the fronts that they're changing on Cleland's car. On menu, they changed the left side. It's been even Steven. Some have gone for front, some have gone for left side. Cleland now the seconds ticking away, and this is not looking good for the Scotsman.
JK front.
And there is Menu. That's second place gone. There is James Thompson with his headlights ablaze. That's third place gone. And now John Cleland rejoins in fourth place. Remember, this man, John Cleland, in the Vauxhall, was actually in second place earlier in the race. These pit stops have become absolutely critical.
Well, Rickard Rydell is actually leading this race, Charlie, and the reason he's doing that is because the Volvo team value that one single point you get for leading a race. But he's run right up to the very end of the pit stop window. He's going to have to come in now.
And once he does come in, that will make this man officially fourth on the road, chasing this man officially third on the road, James Thompson in the Honda. John Cleland's got it all to do.
Thompson, of course, first into the pits for those tyre stops, but you could see as he came through McLean how much understeer he had in the front wheels, and that will lose him time. John Cleland is going to catch him hand over fist.
Smoke
ahead of us, yes, a big blow up.
There's a pall of smoke coming out of a car. I can't see who it is, but look, there's a line of oil running straight down this back straight into this. It's Gravitt's car, obviously an oil line or a leak or an engine gone somewhere. Should he be off?
Well, he's going to have to pull off, but the worst thing is he drove on the line into the chicane, and that's something I'm sure everybody who is following behind is going to be very unhappy about.
A massive 007 smoke screen from Gravitt as he pulled into looks like it's on fire almost. No sense of urgency from his pit crew though, but that takes Gravitt out of the race as one of the other independents, Matt Neal, is really dicing it with the big boys. Matt Neal in the red Nissan, looking down the inside and making that pass stick, it looks like, over Ivan Muller in the Audi.
They're going door handle to door handle down the Craner curves. Neal's got the advantage through the right, Muller's got it through the left, and he's got the advantage now as they come down into the old hairpin.
Bags of bravery from Matt Neal though, sticking a car out there on the outside line, outside of the Craner curves is madman stuff, and he almost tried it on.
Oil on the circuit at the chicane. Oil on the circuit at the chicane. One four.
Great teamwork there from the Nissan squad as we see Rickard Rydell pull off into the pits. Great teamwork, warning into that oil, and great pictures from the front of this Nissan. What a view of the speed you get. All Nissan's got to do now, all Leslie's got to do now is concentrate and consolidate this lead to bring it home.
Rickard Rydell finally into the pits. This is for his one and only pit stop of the afternoon. Wheels off, wheels back on again. But that one valuable point for leading was what TWR were looking for. And he now stalls it. I don't believe it. After all the problems of the day, Rickard Rydell stalls the engine.
You can hear that engine absolutely bouncing off the rev limiter in frustration as he floors it. But he's having a pretty ordinary weekend.
Well, Rickard Rydell, when he's on his own, absolutely flies. But as we've seen this afternoon, when it comes to getting through the slower traffic at the back of the field, he has really struggled. On the other hand, Jason Plato, who started alongside him at the back of the field, he's just flown all afternoon.
Yeah, it is astonishing when you think that Rickard was so blindingly quick in both of the qualifying sessions. Even the qualifier for this one, he was the fastest fellow by a long way. But this man's the fastest man on the track now. He's set the fastest lap. His name is David Leslie, and he's moving down now on Mark Lemmer in one of the independent cars. That's the independent Vauxhall Vectra. Down into Redgate, got to get past cleanly. Don't want any scraps now. Looking for the way around. Getting a bit close, but being it ever so careful.
Very tentative indeed, David Leslie, in these closing laps, taking no chances. He wants to be certain that Mark Lemmer knows he's there, and more importantly, that Mark Lemmer lets him go through. That's what's happened as they came down the Craner curves, but Leslie's still locking up that right rear wheel as he breaks into the old hairpin.
I gotta say, he's still charging pretty hard. He was nice and sideways in there as well. Puff of smoke working, soaring away at the wheel, driving like a smoke. Whoa, look at that! That's Derek Warwick, and he almost cleaned up the back of Will Hoy.
I've lost drive. Okay, Will, where are you? Steve, we've lost all drive, he thinks.
Well, there's the word, no drive, but meantime there's plenty of drive from this guy, Derek Warwick. He's driving the doors off of Van Muller in front of him. He had a hair-raising moment a moment ago, nearly cleaning up the back of Will Hoy. Now he's looking for a way to pass. Here's the run to Redgate. Muller moves to the outside to cover and then lets it go.
Well, I have to say, Muller offered an invitation to Derek Warwick that he couldn't refuse. It couldn't have been easier for Warwick, and he's just taken one more place. And what a revelation it is for Vauxhall after a disaster in 97 when they couldn't get the right aerodynamic package for the car. They've come up with the 98 car that's aerodynamically good, but mechanically engineered by John Gentry. Fantastic.
Nice lap, Ricard, nice lap, now or never.
I know, it's now or never. I've already tried to shut him off once.
Well, I think Ricard Riddell is going to have to put the blinkers on if he's going to get past Anthony Reid as race leader David Leslie for the last time comes down the straight here at Donington Park.
And what a stunning drive it's been. He's all on his own. There's no one behind him as we head down to the chicane for the last time. He's been so strong. It's been such a measured race. More than 6 seconds ahead of the man in second place as we go down through the chicane. What elation he's going to feel. The only man to win it. He takes the second flag. The only man to win 2 rounds of this championship.
Well done, David. Beautiful job again. Fantastic. Well done, mate. David, fantastic drive, my son. Brilliant. It was worth all that grovelling around for that. Excellent display. Well done.
And a fantastic drive it was, and these two are still at it. They're at it again. He's getting a big push from behind. Rydell has another go in the second chucker. Off he goes, but rejoins the race.
And I don't know how Reid got the car back. He was on the lock stops.
What a save and what a drive. David Leslie goes from bust to boom. A non-finish in the sprint race and a win in the second. And he becomes the first driver to win 2 BTCC races this season. Behind him, Menu puts his title defence back on track with second. Ahead of that man, Cleland, the ever-present James Thompson and Jason Plato. Reid and Rydell survived their last corner remake of Days of Thunder for 6th and 7th. And Matt Neal, an incredible 9th, keeping the independent flag flying. David Leslie, congratulations. You're making a habit of this.
It's lovely making a habit of this. I can make it a habit of winning any time.
Very, very good. Strong all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to thank Nissan for the car, for their engine and everything. We worked very hard this weekend. We were on top all weekend. We had a bit of a hiccup in the second qualifying, which caused a few problems in the second race when I got run into. But other than that, we've had a very good weekend. I do like this winning.
Leslie might be the first double winner of the season, but the guys holding first and third in the points, James Thompson and Jason Plato, have yet to win a race. And a welcome return to the leaderboard as well for folk hero John Cleland in 4th position. Consistency certainly is the name of the game in what's fast becoming the most open British Touring Car Championship in years. He might have won 2 races, but you have to finish them all as well. David Leslie in 6th position in spite of today's sparkling performance. Derek Warwick 7th, Reid his teammate 8th, Will Hoy 9th in a Ford Mondeo, and Gianni Morbidelli rounds out the top 10. Despite his superb Donington performances, Matt Neal 3rd behind Tommy Rustad still has some catching up to do. Independence points leader Rob Gravitt confirms that consistency is still the best approach. So with 2 more British drivers on top of the podium here at Donington, the Battle of Britain, otherwise known as the Autotrader RAC British Touring Car Championship, moves to Brands Hatch in Kent for rounds 7 and 8.